Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariah and this is Mariah's Moods. Welcome to the February edition of It's a Mood TBR. Super excited for this month as always, but we will be finishing our first complete round of It's a Mood TBR and starting our second game. So it's going to be a good month. A few updates about the game though. I have decided to change a few of the rules when it comes to kind of recapping from the previous month. So last month, in the month of January, I kind of punished myself because I did not finish a book on my TBR, and I would have, if that book was finished, I would have finished the entire TBR for the month of December. However, I was reading Malice. I did not finish Malice before the end of the month, and so I counted that as not finishing my TBR, and then I punished myself by adding a spin. In the comments, you guys were really great and gave me some really good feedback and said that since I had gotten through about half of that book, or some of you even gave like page parameters, that I should still count that towards my reward because I had the intention of finishing it and I actually picked it up. So some of you were saying that if I pick up all of the books in my TBR, it should count. So I think I'm going to go ahead and continue on that rule. If I pick up a book and at least get through half of it, 50%, then I can count that towards my reward for the game. But anything less than that, I'm going to say that it's not finished because I might not even finish the book, knowing me. Another thing that I wanted to add was something that I really loved from Melissa. Melissa commented that instead of maybe punishing myself, I could maybe reward myself for finishing my TBR, and so adding another coin if I actually finish it instead of adding a spin for not finishing it. So I think I'm going to do like a mashup between those two rules this month and from now on. So if I actually finish every book of my TBR, not only will I collect those coins for every book finished, I'll actually add a coin or a token for finishing that TBR. But I'm still going to keep the rule that if I don't, or if I don't make it to 50% mark for those books, then I'm going to add the spin because, you know, adding some nightmare prompts or taking away and adding a spin, I think that kind of makes the fun of the game. So those are kind of my updates. There's also some things that I think I want to alter in the game, maybe add some more icons. So if you have any ideas of a category I can add to the game, even some more mood prompts, anything that you feel like you can add to this game, please let me know because I love hearing your feedback and adjusting the game as needed. So let's go ahead, move over to the board and start our game for the month of February, and I will check in with the books we end up with. All right, friends, welcome to February's edition of It's a Mood TBR game. Very excited for this month. We are going to finish our first official complete game and start a second game this month. So before we do that, let's go ahead and do a quick January wrap up. So at the end of January's TBR game, I finished with 20 book tokens. Now for the reading month of January, I was able to read 8 books. So that means I get to add 8 tokens to this month's game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that gives me a total of 28 tokens for the first complete round of this game, unless I land on like a 1 to get another token. I'm more than likely going to end on 28 given this. Honestly, unless I roll a 1, 2, or 3, the game's basically done. But for the sake of the game, let's go ahead and spin for this row. Okay, so 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've officially finished the first game completed round of It's a Mood TBR. It's so exciting. This was so much fun. Now that I've finished my game, let's talk about the reward. So based on the rules that I came up with for this game, for every 3 book tokens that I earn at the end of this game, I get to purchase 1 new book, or just purchase a book rather. It doesn't necessarily have to be a book that's from a like new bookstore. It could be a used book, but anyway, I can go book shopping and get a minimum of 9 books. Like, let's be honest, when I go book shopping, I can never stick to like my plan, but at least I can validate 9 of those books because I have earned those books due to reading off of my actual shelves. So In another video, I will take you along. We'll go book shopping and cash in on It's a Mood TBR. Let's go ahead and start our new complete round game, whatever you have it, for It's a Mood TBR. So I'm going to start here and go ahead and spin. Okay, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, okay, so this is a new one. We haven't gotten this one yet. So this icon means that a family member is going to choose a book that I'm going to read. So we'll just flip off the top and see. Okay, Luna. So Luna is my dog. We will set up a way for her to actually pick a book. So I'll probably go ahead and just like choose maybe 4 or 5 books and figure out a way to get her to actually pick one of those books. So we have Luna Picks. I'm gonna go ahead and insert the clip here of her actually choosing the book for this month's TBR. Okay, so for Luna Picks, I have narrowed down some ideas to 4. I have One Dark Window, which is, I think, like romantasy. We have The Assassin's Apprentice, which I think is kind of just like your classical high fantasy. We have Trust in the Emerald Sea, which is, again, fantasy, but more, I think, whimsical. And then we have Pestilence, which is a romantasy, dark romance kind of vibe. So I think what I'm going to do is take her treats and add a treat to the top of each book. And then when I tell her to come, whatever treat she comes to for that book will be the book that I will choose for this month. So let me go ahead and set this up. Okay, so we have the treats for each book. I'll call her over, and whatever she chooses will be the book we'll read this month. Luna! Luna, come here, honey. Luna, which one you want? Okay. Did you pick Tress? Good girl. Good girl. Okay, you can have another one just for picking a good one. Good girl, Luna loves. So it looks like Luna chose Trust in the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This one was honestly looking the one that I was really hoping that she would go for. So I'm glad that my girl came in and chose this book because this is something I've been wanting to read for a very long time. I actually hauled this last summer when we were traveling, camping around northwestern United States, and I found this at a pretty awesome bookstore in Seattle. San Antonio? I've never even been to San Antonio. Okay, Seattle. But this is a fantasy, but I heard it's more like whimsical. It's not as, I feel like, high stakes. I could be completely wrong about this, but we're following Tress, who has like fallen in love, and for whatever reason the boy that she is in love with gets taken away from her like home. Like, she's very content in the life that she lives and really doesn't want to venture out, but he is taken away for whatever reason, and so she decides to go on a journey to save him, bring him back. But she has to like travel across the sea that is made up of these like spores, and if these spores get wet, they will just like spontaneously like bring life. Like, I'm assuming like some type of like fungus or plant giving that as a spore, but it can be very dangerous. Like, something as simple as like your sweat can like cause these spores to just like germinate. So traveling across the sea is very dangerous, and this is definitely out of her like wheelhouse because she is very comfortable in her just very everyday, you know, mundane life that she doesn't feel as mundane. So she's really getting out of her element to go save this boy. So I've heard that it's just like very whimsical and great, and just Tress is just, you know, a gem. So I'm really excited to hop into this one and see what all the hype is about. Okay, let's go ahead and go with spin number 2. 7. All right, well, I'm going to get stopped by our first stop sign of the game, and when I grab my first stop sign, it's kind of like that initial recap stop sign. So, did you read all of your books from last month's TBR? If yes, collect a book token for each finished book. If no, collect a book token for each finished book and add a spin to this month's round. Whoa, that's not focusing. There we go. So because we finished a game and then starting a new game, I've kind of already done this. So I'm not going to collect book tokens for my TBR for January because I wanted to honor that on the last game. but I did not finish every book nor pick up every book on last month's TBR. I was able to finish 8 books, but one of the books on last month's TBR I did not actually read, so I am gonna go ahead and add a spin for this month. So we will then have 4 more spins to see what we come up with. So spin number 3. 1. And we have a mood card. So this is the just random prompts. I like to mix them up a little bit. And whoa. See what I get. Actions can have great consequences. Pick a book with a verb in the title. Interesting. All right, so we have actions can have great consequences. Pick a book with a verb in the title. Now, while this may not be like a super high stakes book, like actions have consequences, I did choose this one because it does have a verb in the title, and it's something that I've recently gotten and I cannot wait to dive into, and that is Right Move by Liz Tomford. This is the second book. I think it's like the Windy City series. The first book was Mile High, which was my top romance I read last year. Absolutely love that book. Still think about it to this day. And this is the second book in that series. This one is following Ryan and Indy. Indy, both of these characters are in the first book, but they're kind of just like side characters. Ryan is the main character from Mile High. That's her brother, and then Indy is her best friend. So now we're following Ryan and Indy. I feel like I'm doing a terrible job explaining this, but either way. So Ryan is a professional basketball player. Indy is a flight attendant. She was working with the hockey team from the first book, but I think she's recently gone through a breakup, and she moves in with Ryan, her best friend's brother. And I think they're kind of thinking, oh, this is like a perfect kind of deal. Like, you're always traveling, I'm always traveling. I'm making huge assumptions here with this plot. But either way, I think that we're gonna maybe have some fake dating. I think they're maybe put into a situation where they're having to fake their relationship. And what I love about fake dating is that it always blooms into more, and I absolutely love it. Excited to hop into this one. I really hope it's as great as the first one, but we'll see. Okay, so let's go ahead with spin number 4. 9. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I'm going to pick up a Moody card, give them a good shuffle, see what we come up with. This one feels right. Okay, we all know the book is better. Pick a TV or movie adaptation. All right, so we all know the book is better. Pick a movie or TV adapted book. So I actually don't have a ton on my shelves that have been adapted, but I did find one that I've actually been wanting to read for a couple months now. I've been like adding it to blind picks and things like that, hoping it would land on that. But you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and choose it with this one, and that is going to be A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. A few months ago, I started watching the show. I watched like maybe one episode and like into like half of the second, and I was like, nope, stop. I need to read these books because I am already invested in this show and I'm only like an episode and a half in, but I want to read the book first because, you know, that's just something I do, and I know I'm not the only one. Like, how many of you will read a book before you see the movie, before you watch the show, and then you're ultimately disappointed in the movie or the show because it never adds up to the book? But, you know, we still continue to do this anyway. Like, if I find out that a movie or a show has a book, I'm reading it first. This is following Diana, who is like a historian of like kind of magical things like alchemy, which, you know, humans just don't think like there's really not much to it, but she is a witch, and so she knows that alchemy and all of these historical like context and all these like historical texts actually have more to them. So she is actually studying them, I think in like Oxford. Yeah, Oxford. But while she's studying, this like mysterious manuscript just like appears, and that really opens up the door for many, many things that are trying to get their hands on this hidden manuscript. But for whatever reason, it's just like appeared to her. So that just kind of brings in all of, I think, these like other creatures that are really trying to get their hands on this manuscript, and she doesn't really know why, but she runs into a vampire who is Matthew, and I think they're gonna end up having to work together to figure out what's going on with this manuscript and, you know, how can they protect the world from whatever may come from this. But what's really interesting is that she's really not trying to lean into her magic. I think there's maybe some trauma associated with it, so she's really trying to avoid magic and all that, but it's really just at the point where she cannot avoid it anymore. So I'm so excited to read this. I've heard great things about the series. One of my best friends just like raves about it all the time, and she's like, have you not read it yet? So I'm going to definitely dive into this one this month. All right, let's go with spin number 5. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a big stretch of Moody cards. I feel like I need to add something between there. All right, so that is a Moody pick. I'm gonna pick my Moody cards again. Shuffle it up. And representation is important. Pick a BIPOC book or author. Come on. There we go. All right, so we have representation is important. Pick a BIPOC book or author. I'm so excited for this one. I decided to pick up 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This book is something that's just been staring at me on my shelves for so long, and I've been wanting to read it. It's a more contemporary romance, and I almost want to say like maybe even love story, because I don't know if this is going to have a happy ending. I feel like it's going to be a little hard-hitting compared to like most contemporary romances. But this is following Eva, who is a like erotica romance writer, and it's also following Shane, who is award-winning novelist, and basically they meet and spend like 7 days and just love and bliss, and for whatever reason things kind of fall apart. But over like the last few years they've been writing love letters to each other through their books, and somehow they reconnect, and I think they kind of have to grapple with what happened in those 7 days, and are they meant to be together, and all of that, and like it just sounds so good. I've heard good things about this one as well. I think even people who don't tend to read romance like still gave this 4 and 5 stars. So there we go. There we go. Okay, let's go with our final spin of the month. Spin number 6. 5. Oh gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we have landed on a nightmare, my friends. Wonderful, wonderful. So, nightmare prompts are prompts that are semi-unenjoyable. Like, not a, like, Hades, like, it's not a ridiculous punishment, but it's definitely something that is undesirable. So let's just give these a shuffle and see what the universe has in store for us. Oh, there's a book token. That might be good luck, right? Here we go. Oldies can be goodies. Pick a classic novel. Great. So excited. All right, so we got a nightmare pick, and we landed with oldies can be goodies. Pick a classic novel. Now, listen, I know there's people out there that like love classics. I'm just not typically that girl. I'm not. So I was not super excited about this pick. And I know that like classic novel can be like, it's just so like dependent on, you know, who we're actually talking to. So I wanted to try and stay true to like stereotypical classic novels, like maybe things that we would have to read in school and whatnot. And there was actually one that I've been wanting to reread for a long time because I haven't read it since I was in school, and that is 1984 by George Orwell. But basically we're following Winston, who is living in this society that has like this like overarching like almost like surveillance system, and he starts to realize that things in his life are not what they seem, and he's not really okay with that. And so he decides that he's going to kind of work and rebel against the system. And I feel like this is one of those books that you should really just kind of go in blind, because it is so just like, it just like hits you. Like just some of the parallels between this book and honestly what the like life we live now is kind of scary. So I'm kind of wanting to reread this. There's going to be a release. I feel like it might have been released at the end of last year, which is going to follow Winston's like love interest in this book. So I really want to read that one, and so I figure why not kind of refresh my mind by rereading 1984. All right, so we will begin the next round on that space, and I will see you again for March's TBR game. Alrighty, my friends, so these are the 5 books that I have ended with our first round of our new TBR game for the month of February. Really excited about this kind of mix-up. We've got some romance, we've got some fantasy, we've got a little bit of dystopian classic. I think it's going to be a great reading month. If you like this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, and do all the things. I hope you're having a wonderful time out there and that your day is full of good moods and good vibes. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!